Peace be upon you and welcome to a new episode. Today, we'll talk about one of the most shocking, bizarre, and horrifying crimes that shook all of Egypt at the beginning of 2023. A crime that made people completely lose trust even in their closest relatives. A crime that left an entire family living in a nightmare that hasn't ended until now, and made all of Kalyubia talk about it for weeks and months. The story of a kind woman, a mother of 3 young children, who left home every day at exactly 7:10 a.m. heading to her job at Kalyub General Hospital. On a completely ordinary Friday, like any other day, February 10th, 2023, she left her apartment on the 3rd floor of her family's building in the village of Abu Sena in Kalyubia, Governorate. She greeted her husband, walked down the stairs like she did every day. But this time, she never made it to work, and she never came home. Her phone was switched off since the morning, as if she had vanished into thin air. Her family began to worry, searching for her everywhere, at the hospital, at relatives' houses, in the streets, in every place she could have gone. But there was no trace of her. Hours passed, worry grew, until they went to the police station and filed a missing person report. No one could have imagined that behind this disappearance was betrayal and greed from someone closest to her, a crime planned with extreme precision. Stay with me, because I'm going to tell you the full story. And before we begin, don't forget to like and share the episode so it reaches as many people as possible, and wait for me every Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday with a new episode. Without going into too many details, let's dive straight into the depths of our story. Our story begins with Iman Abdel Khaleq, who was in her early to mid-40s. She was married to Muhammad for about 16 years, a very kind and respectable man who owned a barbershop in the area. He became responsible for the entire family after the recent death of their father. He supported his mother and his younger brother, and he deeply loved his wife. Their relationship was perfect. Everyone testified that there were never any problems between them. They had 3 children: Ziad, the eldest, in preparatory school, about 14 years old Rehab, in primary school, and Omar. Iman was a very strong, kind-hearted woman. Everyone in the village of Abu Sena and in Kalyub knew her as helpful, generous, and supportive, even to her husband's relatives. She worked as a nurse at Kalyub General Hospital, leaving home every day at exactly 7:10 a.m. and returning in the afternoon. She always wore her full gold jewelry, bangles, wedding ring, earrings, and a necklace. She also participated in savings groups, gamiyat, and saved money to help with household expenses and the children. She even helped her husband's relatives financially, including Hassan, Muhammad's younger brother. She treated him like her own son at first, and used to give him money and support him. She had practically raised him since she married Muhammad when Hassan was around 15 years old. The whole family lived in a 5-floor building they owned. The ground floor was an abandoned apartment used only for storage, dark and unused for years. The 2nd floor, Muhammad and Hassan's mother. The 3rd floor, Muhammad, Iman, and their children, Ziad, Rehab, and Omar. The 4th floor, Hassan, who was preparing it for his upcoming marriage. The roof was normal. At that time, Hassan was about 29 years old. He worked as a blacksmith and sometimes helped his brother in the barber shop. He had been married before, was now divorced, and had a son and daughter with his ex-wife. He paid their alimony every 2 months. After the divorce, he got engaged again and had already signed the marriage contract 2 months earlier, He was preparing the apartment and furniture and covering wedding expenses. But he was under severe financial pressure, deeply in debt, owing money to many people. His work was unstable. One day he worked, 10 days he didn't. He often asked Muhammad for money, and Muhammad helped him as much as he could, giving him money, helping with alimony and expenses. He treated him like his own son, always telling him, "Don't worry, Hassan, God will make a way." Hassan felt like Muhammad was supporting him the same way a father would. The relationship between Iman and Hassan was very good in the beginning. She treated him like her own child because he was young when she married Muhammad. She supported him, advised him, and helped him financially. But about a year or two before the crime, very serious problems happened. Hassan stole from his brother's apartment twice, once money and another time gold belonging to Iman. The second time, Rehab, Iman's daughter, who was in 5th grade, saw him stealing and told her mother. Iman told Muhammad, and a big family meeting was held. Iman's uncle, their uncle, and many relatives attended. They decided that Hassan was forbidden from entering his brother's apartment ever again. From that day on, Iman cut him off completely. Even if he greeted her in the building, she wouldn't reply. Muhammad told her to at least return the greeting for the sake of family ties, so she would reply only minimally. The relationship between Iman and Hassan was completely severed, and everyone in the neighborhood and village knew the story. Iman would always tell her husband, "Be careful of your brother. He's a thief and won't leave us alone." She feared he would do something again. She warned Muhammad, "Keep an eye on him. His greed will destroy him." Hassan, on the other hand, held deep resentment toward her because she was the one who exposed him. He hated her inside, believing she ruined his life, blocked his path, and caused the family to cut him off. Here begins the truly dark part of the story. Hassan was in a severe financial crisis, needing around 200,000 Egyptian pounds or more, about $7,000, to prepare for his new marriage, furniture, the apartment, expenses, and old debts. He asked his brother Muhammad for a lot of money. Muhammad helped him as much as he could, but he couldn't give him that large amount. So Hassan decided to steal from Iman for the third time. But this time, he wouldn't leave any witnesses like in the previous incidents, the ones that exposed him and brought him huge humiliation. He planned to quietly take Iman's gold and money, sell them, and use the money to prepare for his marriage. He knew that Iman always had lots of savings from rotating savings groups, especially on Fridays because she delivered the money at work. And she always wore all her gold: bracelets, wedding ring, earrings, and necklace. He also knew her exact routine. She left every day at 7:10 a.m. sharp to go to work. On Fridays, Muhammad woke up late and would go back to sleep after Iman left. Their mother would be asleep. The kids would be asleep. And the street cameras didn't capture the building's entrance. They only showed the area 5 to 10 meters outside, so he decided to kill her inside the building, in the abandoned apartment on the ground floor, dark, unused for years. After that, he planned to dump the body in a chemical wastewater canal filled with corrosive substances so the body would decompose quickly and be unidentifiable if found. He would throw her bag and phone in another canal. Then he would be the first one to search with the family to completely remove suspicion, acting shocked and devastated over his brother's wife. He had been thinking about this for months. He watched her every day. He felt hatred toward her because she had exposed him before. He kept saying to himself, "She's the one who ruined my life. She blocked my path. I have to get rid of her." And he planned every tiny detail. The planning continued for many days. Hassan kept monitoring Iman's routine daily. He knew she always left alone. He knew the abandoned apartment door didn't close well. He prepared a strong wooden stick to strike her with. On Thursday, February 9th, 2023, he went to a relative and took a small pickup truck under the pretext of transporting furniture to his new apartment. He kept the keys from Thursday, so he would be fully ready on Friday. He knew the canal was 10 minutes away by car and that the streets would be empty early in the morning. He planned to cover the body well so no one would notice anything suspicious, return home and act normal. He thought through every small detail, how he would wash his clothes, how he would avoid suspicion. He kept telling himself this was his only chance. If I don't do this, I'll stay in debt forever, and I won't be able to get married. And he justified everything to himself by thinking that Iman was the one who had stood in his way from the beginning. The cursed day arrived, Friday, February 10th, 2023, at 7 a.m. Iman woke up as usual, prepared breakfast for the kids, greeted Muhammad, who was awake, and told him, "Goodbye, Muhammad. May God protect you and the children." She went down the stairs at exactly 7:10 a.m. Hassan was hiding below, in the building entrance near the staircase. As soon as he saw her coming down, he greeted her very normally so she wouldn't suspect anything. He said, "Good morning, Iman." She replied, "Good morning." He told her, "I'm bringing the furniture tomorrow." She said, "Congratulations, Hassan. May God complete everything for you safely." He replied, "God bless you. May Ziyad's turn come soon, God willing." She said, "God willing." She walked 2 steps into the entrance, and suddenly Hassan struck her on the head with the wooden stick, a very strong blow. She fell unconscious to the floor. He quickly dragged her into the abandoned ground-floor apartment, completely dark and deserted for years. He began removing her gold by force: bracelets, wedding ring, earrings, necklace. He took her bag, her phone, and the money she had with her. About 5,000 Egyptian pounds from the savings group she was supposed to deliver at work. Iman regained consciousness a little from the blow. She scratched his face hard with her nails and let out a muffled scream. Hassan panicked, afraid the neighbors or his cousin, who was on the roof feeding the pigeons, might hear her. So he jumped on her and strangled her with both hands with all his strength, strangled her until she died. He switched off her phone, ensured she was dead, locked the apartment door, and left normally. He went to a nearby bakery and got a big green sack. The worker told him that was the biggest size, so he went somewhere else and got an even bigger one. He returned to the apartment, put the body in the sack, but she was taller than the sack. So he went up to his mother's apartment and took a bedsheet to cover the exposed part. At 8:30 a.m., he brought the pickup truck and parked it exactly in front of the building entrance. He opened the truck door directly facing the building entrance so he could lift the sack quickly without anyone seeing. He carried the sack, put it in the truck, and went to dump it in the sewage canal filled with corrosive chemicals, then returned home. He washed his hands and face from blood and scratches, changed his clothes, went to Friday prayer as usual, then sat with his brother Muhammad in the barber shop. He acted completely normal, as if nothing had ever happened. He even joined the family in searching when they began to worry, crying and saying, "I wish it was me instead of her." He acted shocked, sad, and cooperative. He helped check camera footage, trying to remove all suspicion from himself. As time passed, the worry steadily increased. Muhammad called Iman to check on her, but her phone was off. He assumed the network was weak at the hospital or on the way. At 4 p.m., he called again, still off. He called Iman's father, who was also worried and had called her many times. They went together to the hospital. The biggest shock was that Iman never arrived at work at all. Her colleagues assumed she was sick or absent and marked her as absent for the day. At around 9 or 10 p.m. on Friday, February 10th, 2023, They went to Qalyub police station and filed an official missing person report. The police moved quickly, led by the chief of investigations of Qalyub, one of the best officers in Qalyubia. They began extracting camera footage from the entire area, from the main street to the end of the village. The first shocking discovery: Iman never appeared leaving the building at all. The cameras recorded the people who left, tuk-tuks and cars, but not her. Suspicion immediately fell on Muhammad, her husband, because he was the one who said she left, closed the door behind her, and greeted him before going. They held him at the station as the main suspect. They brought the children, Ziad, Rehab, and Omar, to ask whether there were problems between their parents. The children said there were no problems at all. Their parents had a very good relationship. Iman's father was 100% certain Muhammad was innocent and told the officer he could never do this. But the police work with evidence, not emotions. They continued interrogating Muhammad for long hours, searched the apartment, the entire building, the cars, and all possible places. They considered every scenario. A business conflict, revenge, an affair? But none of it made sense. On Saturday, February 11th, 2023, the investigation continued with tremendous intensity. They reviewed more and more CCTV footage, and this is when the evidence began to gather piece by piece against Hassan. The chief investigator noticed that Hassan appeared on camera at 8:05 a.m., leaving the building while adjusting the hood of his jacket. Then he returned at 8:30 a.m. with a pickup truck. 10 minutes later, he was seen leaving again with the truck, carrying a large green sack covered with a bedsheet. The camera also caught part of the blue sweater, or colors that Iman had been wearing. He was headed in the direction of the canal. Hassan also started causing trouble with the women and neighbors who were searching for additional camera footage. He told them, "Stop looking for Iman. You're going to ruin her reputation." He was insinuating that she ran away with a man and was cheating on his brother. This made Iman's father grow even more suspicious of him. A worker at the bakery testified that around 8:10 a.m., Hassan came and asked for a large sack. When told there wasn't a bigger one, he went somewhere else and brought back a larger sack. His relative, the owner of the truck, also testified that Hassan had borrowed the vehicle on Thursday, claiming he was moving furniture. Hassan's cousin, who was on the rooftop feeding pigeons, testified that he heard a muffled scream at around 7 a.m. coming from inside the building. He ran to look at the street but saw nothing, so he realized the scream had come from inside. He later stated this to the prosecution. They also noticed scratches on Hassan's face. He claimed they were from work, but they were clearly scratch marks from fingernails. There was also light blood under his fingernails. They summoned Hassan again for questioning. At first, he lied extensively, claiming he had been asleep until Friday prayers. His mother confirmed this. But the CCTV footage completely exposed him. The chief investigator applied heavy pressure and gathered all the evidence. The CCTV footage witness statements, the truck, the sacks, the scratches on his face. He confronted Hassan with everything. Iman's father also confronted him in front of the officer and mentioned the past theft incidents and conflicts. At this point, Hassan collapsed and confessed to everything in detail. He said he killed her to steal her gold and money because he needed money for his marriage. He led them to the location of the body in the canal, where the gold was hidden in his mother's sofa, the phone thrown on the rooftop, and the bag in another drain. He reenacted the crime for the prosecution and confessed that he didn't plan to kill her at first, but panicked when she screamed. He admitted he had held resentment against her for exposing him in the past and had secretly hated her. On Sunday, February 12, 2023, they went to the canal and retrieved the body exactly 3 days later. The sight was extremely horrific. The body was completely deformed by the corrosive chemicals, her eyes bulging out, tongue protruding, facial features gone, the body partially decomposed. Iman's father tried to see her, but they didn't allow him. He managed to glimpse her for a few seconds and collapsed. The forensic report confirmed manual strangulation, head trauma, and theft, and that the body had remained in corrosive chemicals for 3 days, causing severe disfigurement. The funeral took place on February 15, 2023, and all of Qalyub attended in a massive procession. Her family was devastated. Mohammed had been detained from Friday until Monday. When he heard his brother Hassan confess in front of the officer, he fell to the floor from the shock. He didn't know what to do. His wife had been murdered, and his brother was the killer. He was trapped between two fires. The prosecution released him immediately after proving his complete innocence. He was left to raise his children alone, living a daily nightmare, unable to live without his wife, and unable to face the fact that his brother was the murderer. The entire family became divided. The prosecution charged Hassan with premeditated murder with the intent to facilitate theft. The case went to the Shubra El Khema Criminal Court. On July 6, 2023, his case was referred to the Grand Mufti. On September 3, 2023, the initial verdict was issued: death by hanging. The family waited for swift justice. This was the story of Iman, a victim of greed and betrayal by someone she had raised and treated like her own son. Greed blinded him and destroyed an entire family. 3 children became orphaned, and a man lost both his wife and his brother in a single moment. May God have mercy on Iman, comfort her children and family, and grant her justice in this life and the next. And with that, today's episode ends. If it's your first time on the channel, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any updates. See you in the next episode. Goodbye.